The turnout is wonderful. I want to thank everybody for showing up, especially my supporters. It's been wonderful to have all of your support, and seeing a lot of friendly faces here is great. And seeing some of the old school people here too is great. Anyways, my name is John, my real name, I should say. I've gone by Jack since my college days. My roommate we had grown up together, started calling me Jack, and it stuck. So I think everybody knows John goes to Jack as a nickname. But that's why people call me Jack. Um, Look, I've never been so honored and humbled to be here tonight. This is absolutely wonderful. I have always thought about becoming a judge, and as time has gone on, and I've been around for over 30 years now in this county, I decided that it was time to become a judge after as much time as I've spent in with the DA's office and in private practice. I come from humble beginnings. My father worked on an assembly line at American Motors, which became Chrysler, for over 40 years. He was on an automotive assembly line. My mother was the same. She worked as a unit clerk in a hospital for about 35 years. Because of that background, I will never take this position as I'm entitled to it. I'll never feel that I'm entitled to it, and if I'm lucky enough to win, I will always be willing to take on any challengers. It's important that people do not feel that they are entitled. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was just giving you a time warning.
Okay.
Just
How much?
5
5
seconds.
seconds. Uh-oh. Anyways, I I'm going to be able to finish it up later. I just wanted to give you a brief background on myself and my working class upbringing, and that I've attended all public schools, my high school, my college, and my law school time was spent at public schools. And I must say I've had a splendid, wonderful education. Am I done? Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Will Gruber. Will is short for William. I used to go by Bill. My wife changed my name on my behalf. If you're interested, I want to start out by thanking the Chamber for organizing this event. It's an important event. At least in my experience, the last several weeks have taught me that this is a good experience. It's toning. It gets you around the county. It gets judges out of their chambers, and it gets them to show their face and tell their story. I'm currently the presiding judge in Branch 1. I've been in that position since 2018 when I was appointed. I was elected in 2019. So in that 6.5 years, I've presided over every type of case that a circuit court judge considers: criminal cases, civil cases, family cases, probate cases. I'm going to be candid. I'm proud of my efficiency and my promptness. At the same time, I'm pleased with pleased with the quality of justice, the product that occurs in my courtroom. I think the way justice is arrived at is sometimes equally important as the result that's actually arrived at by a judge. And that quality, that includes making sure that everybody who has a voice in the courtroom is heard. It makes it's also important that decorum and civility is enforced, and sometimes that's an uncomfortable thing. That includes lawyers, that includes litigants, and I think that's important. The public wants to see a courtroom experience, I think, that transcends or stands above some of the incivility and some of the the unsavory behavior we see in other. That can't possibly be 2 minutes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so do I have to yield the rest of my time?
Finish your sentence.
Oh my goodness. Finished my sentence. Okay, so I've been in the job for 6.5 years. Maybe I'll reserve some of my time towards the end to provide a better conclusion.
Thank you. Didn't mean to interrupt you. by the
No.
way. I just noticed your screen was off. Hi, I'm Teresa Beck. I am the current presiding judge in Branch 2. I was appointed last year by Governor Evers. Before I was a circuit court judge, I was a prosecutor for 14 years. I had the pleasure of serving under DA Hall and formerly DA Happ. I had the opportunity to work with all of our law enforcement agencies and to work with crime victims and as well as our state agencies, trying to ensure that public protection and accountability was one of the things we were achieving in our criminal rotation. I also had the privilege to serve as one of the 2 prosecutors in this county that handled all the juvenile cases in the DA's office. That included CHIPS, TPRs, delinquencies, guardianships. That was a specialty that I shared with another prosecutor. Before I was a prosecutor, I spent 10 years in private practice. I was primarily a family law attorney, and I was lucky enough to have the confidence of the court commissioners in this county, where they appointed me as guardian ad litem on behalf of the best interests of children whose interests were at stake in litigation. My husband and I are lifelong residents of this county. We live several blocks from here. We raised our family here. We both contribute to our community in ways such as serving on the Rotary, Ducks Unlimited, the Community Foundation. This place is our home. I have committed my entire legal career to this location. I am proud to be a Jefferson County resident, and I am proud of the 25 years of legal service I have provided to this county. I certainly wish to continue doing so in the capacity as a circuit court judge and using the breadth of experience that I have gained in my 25 years of legal experience in family, criminal, civil, juvenile, to provide a service to the citizens of Jefferson County and all the individuals who come before our court system, to provide you with a fair opportunity to be heard and to be treated with respect. Thank you. Did I make it? I was watching your screen.
I'm sorry, I did change it up. I do have a timer up here now. In case you all-
I felt a little pressure.
I feel like the second hand on that clock is a large amount, but I know this isn't huge either.
We're ready?
Whenever you're
All right. Hi, everyone. I am Jennifer Weber. You'll see the sign say Jen because it's a lot shorter to fit on a whole lot of stuff than having a longer first name than a last name. I am a resident of Jefferson County for 29 years. I live up in the town of Ixonia, so I'm up in the corner. But that's a heavily growing community. So I've been there for 29 years, married for 29 years. Have a beautiful daughter. She's here tonight, 23 years old and finishing up pharmacy school. So that is my personal life. My parents live nearby, and who they have raised is a very strong, independent female. What does that mean? That means that I oftentimes go my own way, and you'll see that in, I was 17 out on my own, going to undergrad at UW-Madison, got a double major, psychology, social work, minor in criminal justice. I was told I couldn't get married until I graduated, so I got it done in 4 years and then chose to go to law school. Went to law school at Marquette University, graduated 26 years ago. Judge Beck was the year below me, so we went to school together. After law school, 6 days after I got my law license, I opened up my own practice with a fellow classmate, and we went out on our own. What Jefferson County gave us, though, was a legal community that we could rely on each other. It was a very collegial, you could pick up the phone, you could call your opponent, maybe struggling a little on the law, and they actually gave you the answers. They didn't mislead you, they didn't misguide you. That is something that needs to come back to our legal community. That's something that needs to come back to our judiciary, where we used to hold roundtables with our local practitioners, where we used to be together for bar luncheons, events, and that's something that I want to bring back to this community.
what is the role of?
Yeah, the circuit courts are the trial courts, the state trial courts in Wisconsin. They have original jurisdiction over all matters that are civil and criminal. And that's where cases generally start. There are municipal courts, but that's generally where a dispute starts. The state brings a claim, it's prosecuting someone. It starts in the circuit court. Two private parties have a dispute. One sues the other. It starts in circuit court. From there, it can be appealed. Everybody gets one shot at an automatic appeal. And then after that, it's up to the Supreme Court if the Supreme Court wants to take that matter up. Thanks.
Thank you. I know that's kind of the same question, but if we would just want to go around if you have anything to add.
To my left, then.
All right. So the one thing that I have learned is circuit court judges are essentially we're your gateway into the system, and we have court commissioners too, and they work just as hard. What we ultimately end up doing is we're the first spaces oftentimes that you see when you're commencing an action, and we kind of set the tone for how the pleadings are coming in, what is the scheduling, and we're trying to marshal out what those issues are to ensure that the litigation can move through as efficiently as possible. So we are what I would call the gatekeepers.
And the gatekeeper to the gatekeepers, the circuit court commissioners, is what I've been doing for 9 years. We are easily to be equated with, I always try to say, what's a court commissioner? We're like the emergency room doctor. We have all of the same qualifications and training, and we're either going to save your life or we're not, and or we're going to get you ready for surgery, and then we ship you to there. So when you enter the court system, 9 times out of 10, you're seeing us first. And then going to the circuit court level, which is, as I equate it, more of the surgery level.
Go.
You start talking and I'll go.
Well, I agree with Jen. I started here in Jefferson County as an assistant DA back in 1990, which is getting to be a long time ago. But I agree with her when she says things were a lot different back then. I think Jen showed up about 99 or so. We could call each other and we could be civil with each other. And I don't know what happened through the time, but I think we need to get back to that and work together.
Every individual experience is different. I don't know specifically whether you had an experience or someone had an experience that they relayed to you. That should never happen. We're here to talk to you, not at you, not down to you. When you come into our courts, the expectation is you're ready to go. We're prepared to hear your file and to make sure that the issues are litigated in a fair and respectful manner. So I don't know specifically what your situation was, but I'm sorry that it happened to you or that you perceived that it was a bad experience, or whoever had that experience perceived it to be a bad one, because that should never happen in our court system ever. Do I go this way? Okay, sorry.
In those situations, there's a lot of perception that can happen on both sides. And there's also a lot of confusion about what we can and can't do as magistrates. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at you through a little thing, and what we can and can't do. And oftentimes, 85 to 90% of people come to court unrepresented by attorneys. We cannot give them that legal advice for them to either defend their case or put their case forward. And that oftentimes leads to great areas of frustration on both the judiciary as well as the litigants. It shouldn't get to a point where anybody is being disrespectful to one another. I try to give as much educational and go to this website, consult with an attorney. I'm really, I've said it probably 1,000 times. I'm sorry, I know the answer, but I can't tell you. And people become very, very upset by that. So we always try to maintain the courtesy and decorum of every litigant that comes before us.
Go to Jack then.
Ma'am, I sympathize with you. As a defense attorney, I have seen a lot of that, and clients will come out and say, "Jesus, criminy, that guy treated me like a dog," and I have to calm them down and explain to them that no, the judge was just being the judge and explaining things to you and trying to get across to you in as common terms as possible, because when you start using legal terms, it tends to confuse people. And I'm sorry that happened to you, or somebody you know. Um, it's really unfortunate, but I've seen a lot of that, and a lot of people are confused. You probably never have been in that situation before, and it's scary. And you walk in and you see this judge sitting up on his high bench, and the lawyers all in their suits. It can be intimidating. So I sympathize with that, and I wish I could help you with that. Oops, I clicked something. There we go.
Thanks. Well, ma'am, if that was a personal experience, I'll apologize on behalf of the whole judiciary. I'm not sure if it was personal, but for one, I don't know if you've experienced my courtroom. I do make a concerted effort to minimize, at least I believe I'm making a concerted effort to minimize any sense that, I'm being oppressive or that you're being, subjugated. There are certain traditions in the courtroom, the way it's furnished, the way the judge is elevated. There are certain things that can make people feel uncomfortable and like they're being talked down to. But I mean, I can speak for myself. That is not an acceptable form of behavior for myself. If I see it between litigants or between attorneys, it's something that I think I have an obligation to quell and make sure it doesn't happen. So that's all I can offer.
This is something that I've actually thought long and hard about, because I just saw it on Mondays. Mondays, I run initial appearances on criminal cases. Just have one where number 16 came in. What do we do? It's another relatively minor offense. And I say relatively minor, meaning nonviolent. Am I supposed to lock them up and then what? Send them to the judges and they get put on every 30 days, 60 days? How do we do it? And then they sit in jail for that long. Sheriff's department gets upset when their jails get full. What is the balance between all of that? What it is you have to work together collaboratively as a team. It's got to be the judicial, it's got to be the county administration, it's got to be the sheriff's department. All three have to work together to figure out how we're going to do that with our bonds. And whether it's incarceration and moving those cases maybe a little bit faster if they're in a cash bond or an incarcerated status. So that is absolutely where collaboration has to come in. It can't be an independent action from the judiciary. It's got to come from all the team players.
I agree with Jen. I think there needs to be collaboration. That's a great question too, Krista, because I get frustrated as the DA's office when I've got 10 files on somebody and they're going nowhere. Then the judges are like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I don't blame them. They've got to keep their cases going too. And it's very difficult. And I don't have an easy answer. I would include the DA's office in on that collaboration. But we've got a lot of bright people in this county, especially in that courthouse. And I think there has to be some answer to this. There really does. And it needs to be, I don't want it, we should all sit down in a round table and figure this out. No, I think it has to be an ongoing thing and we're all working together. And there we come back to that working together bit again. And it's important that we all do collaborate and work on coming to some sort of answer when it comes to what Krista's asking about. Do I have an answer right this second? No, I don't, but I think it needs to be worked on. Be careful.
All right, green light. Good question, Attorney Granberg, and I think collaboration is the key. I don't think, I think it's easy to sometimes look at the inside of a courtroom and think that one person, that judge, is the exclusively responsible for this issue, or the judge is one component. There's a lot of components that converge in that courtroom. You have law enforcement, you have the prosecution, you have lawyers, you have the judge, and I think Jack is right too. This can't be a quarterly roundtable. This has to be an intentional, consistent, collaborative effort to try to get our arms around that.
So, Krista, it's my understanding you're asking for what our opinion is about cash bond in general?
Correct.
Okay. So it really kind of depends on what's the bail jump. Is it a no drink? Are they having contact with the victim? Are they committing a new crime? And what's the severity of it? I think I would look at cash bond differently if I have an individual that's coming in and they've been ordered not to have contact with the victim. They go out and they have that contact and they hurt that person. Then I'm probably leaning a little bit more towards cash bond. But every case is different and every circumstance is different. I think there are times when cash bond is appropriate. I think at some point public safety is an issue in bond. And now we have the violent crimes bond statute, which specifically says that the court can and should consider cash bond in certain circumstances when violent crimes are afoot. So depending on what you're dealing with in any given situation, the issue regarding cash bond might be different. But I would have to grade it on what's the type of the violation and what do we need to do to keep our community safe. So.
Me again, huh?
So you have 2 minutes now.
Okay. Okay. Good. I was too verbose when I first started here, but I'm going to go through this quickly. I did get a degree in psychology from the University of Wisconsin at Platteville. That's where I played college football for 4 years and won a letter 2 times. How about that for a 5'8" guy? I did, again, I received a psychology degree there. I was fortunate enough to get accepted into University of Wisconsin Law School. And I did graduate from there in 1990. That school was considered a top 20 when I was accepted there. And I'm very proud to have graduated from that school. It's an excellent school, and I think I did get an excellent education. In between college and law school, I was an adult probation officer down in Illinois. I did that for a few years, and that's where I became so enamored with law. I watched the lawyers. I was in court almost every day. I was writing pre-sentence investigations. And being in court every day, you start watching the lawyers, you start watching the judges. And I said to myself, gee, I think I can do that. And lo and behold, I can. And I've been doing it for such a long time. During law school, I did do internships at the Dane County DA's office for 2.5 years. Excellent experience. I actually got to appear in court many times as a law student. And then I interned with the U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District of New York in Manhattan. Great summer, just a wonderful summer internship. I'm almost done. Let's see here. Back in 1990, like I think I've already told you this, I was hired here in Jefferson County as an assistant DA. I was an assistant DA for about 3 years, and then I set out on my own and set up an office in Cambridge, right on the Dane County Jefferson line, and later set up an office in Lake Mills. That's all I have. Thank you for coming.
So I'm gonna start here with some of the information that I didn't relay at the front end here. In terms of community involvement, I'm a member of the Friends of Corth Park. I volunteer at the Jefferson Humane Society. I'm a member of Lake Mills Rotary. I reside in the town of Lake Mills. I think I gave a background on my my sort of occupational background. So I think I'm going to use this last minute or minute and a half just to, in this public setting, tell everybody how honored I am to serve in this role. At my investiture, Judge Dorrell, then Chief Judge of the district, she told everybody else present that this is, whether you know it or not, the best judge in the law, the best job in the law, excuse me. And it took me a year or two to arrive at that realization, but it certainly is. You see, you hear, you read about the impacts of your actions every day when it comes to taking children out of bad situations, when it comes to public safety. You're in a position to actually see the consequences of your work, and it's a great job to go to every day. It's exceedingly satisfying, and I appreciate the opportunity to have served the citizens of Jefferson County in this way for the last 6.5 years. I am very grateful. Oh, well,
You see the rest of your time.
yeah, well,
Still time.
let's see here.
I'll just hold it.
Go Marquette. Okay. There you go.
As a fellow Marquette grad from law school, I've had a very unique experience in the last several months. I think Judge Gruber was able to capture the essence. You really do get to see the front lines of what you're doing every single day and the impact that you're having on people. Because we are a system of people. Every litigant that comes into our courtroom, every crime victim, every witness, our clerks, our court reporters, all of the staff, we are a system of people. And we have to strive every single day to use all of the knowledge that we've accumulated through our respective careers to put the best outcomes forward for everyone that comes to us. And certainly the goal here is to make sure that when litigants come into our courtrooms, they have the opportunity to present their arguments. They have the opportunity to be heard. They actually have an opportunity to feel like when they walk out of a courtroom that they have a decision that's going to help them move from whatever stage they're coming to us into hopefully a better place. And we also have to be cognizant that we are dealing with people who are suffering from some of the worst moments of their life. And judges have to have empathy. If we don't have empathy, we are hurting people more than we are helping them. And as again, Judge Gruber said, it is a challenging job. It is at times it is a wonderful job. There's nothing better than doing an adoption hearing and putting a family together. And at times we have to do the hard work and make the hard decisions. But I want all of you to know that every single one of us, we put a lot of thought into our work, and we are extremely proud of what we do every day. And it is an honor to serve the citizens of Jefferson County.
All right, thank you everyone for being here. With respect to what this means, I'm not a sitting judge, but I'm a commissioner. What I do every day, I hear so far this year over 900 hearings. That's 30 to 325% more than any sitting judge right now. Do I want to make myself better than them? No. But you have to understand the quantity that we deal with and what we have to. I'm like the air traffic controller at O'Hare. I know it's a little scary with what's going on right now, and I don't mean that as a joke, but I have to make sure I get the right people to the right places. And yes, being empathetic, but also being the magistrate or the judge on the bench that has been there. I've tried somewhere between 50 and 75 jury trials as a litigator in adverse possession, to zoning, to shared driveways, to criminal, to termination of parental rights. Do you want that person who has been on that bench on the other side and knows the law to be your judge? Or do you want the one or another one that maybe doesn't know it? Do you want to be the guinea pig? And the answer to that is I would want the experience. Do you want to have heart surgery with somebody who's never done it before? I've done it before. And I also hear the cases, and that's what I bring to it. And it's an honor. I love my job. I absolutely love my job and what I do. And also being a steward of this county's money. So in addition to my position as commissioner, I'm also the court services department head. So I run a $1.3 million budget. I have to make sure all of our courts, our family court services, our register and probate's office operates within that budget, and we do not have wasteful spending. That is the other half of my job. So in addition to hearing all of those cases, I'm managing the budget. And that's something that the judiciary, what we all talk about is what we do on the bench. This position is a whole lot more than what happens on that bench. It's the meetings. I'm probably in more meetings than I am on the bench. So factoring all that time, It's not an 8-hour day. So that's what we have to bring to this judiciary. Thank you.